All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Jamey McIntosh, and I'm the product manager for our guideWELD VR and guideWELD Live welding products and all of our real career welding product line. Thank you for joining us today. A few quick notes here is we are going to be recording this, so you will be able to have this copied for your use in future endeavors. Also, we are going to be sharing this in the sense of after this webinar is done, we'll be sending you an email so you can have this along with a form of completion showing that you were part of this webinar. So with that, just want to get started, and we will have time at the end for questions, so you can go into your the chat area, which is in the top bar of your webinar area there that you can see, and you can actually ask questions as we go, and at the end I'll be doing some question answers for you as well. So to get us started today, I'm going to start with the kind of the beginning here and what we're really looking at here, and that is the power of live. It's an overview of our guideWELD Live real welding guidance system. I have it here on the desk with me, and really it is just this. It's a very portable, user-friendly training tool to help students and help welding users be able to make sure that they're doing correct welding guidance as they do live welding, and that's where the live comes from. Now, to get into this, we have other welding products, and all of our products in the CT world that we come forward with have to do with really this statistic here. By 2019, there's going to be a need for over 310,000 replacement and new welding professionals. So within welding education, within the world of career technical education, there is a need to develop the next a generation of welders for the work needs and the careers that our country is going to be needing here in the United States and beyond, because this trend is not just the United States, it's worldwide as well. So one of the things that we want to really focus on is what is happening in today's welding world, and then what is the product able to do for you in your training and your teaching. So today's high school welding lab, there's about 8 welding booths per school on average. 22 is the average number of students in each class, and about 33% have some sort of cognitive disability. So there are learning disabilities that are out there, and so what can we do as educators to help train students who have those type of needs? So we're going to kind of walk through and just talk through some of these focuses that guideWELD Live really helps with. Now, just to kind of begin with, I want to talk about the Real Career Welding Solutions. The Real Career Welding Solution is really a 21st century welding training method. It starts with the virtual reality world. We have guideWELD VR, which is virtual reality welding simulation, both in STIG and MIG options, that lets a student be able to understand and practice in the virtual world before going out into the shop and doing it with live welding. Now, from the virtual world, you then move into where we're going to really be talking today is guideWELD Live. This is live welding using our in-helmet guidance system, doing live welds. Actually out in the shop, you put on our helmet, you're able to actually do live welding. From there, then, we have quality inspection. This feature is another part of our product line. We have 2 different quality inspection kits here. One is a bend tester, and then also a weld defect kit. The weld defect kit allows you to be able to have models of actual weld defects, and then be able to understand what the defect is and how to correct it. So this is another product that we sell through Realityworks. Quality inspection then goes a little bit deeper in our bend tester. It's an actual guided bend tester that allows you to do welding and then actually bend your welds to see if it would be a qualified weld or not. It gives all the instruction, all the information you need for certifying welds through AWS. So what we really talk about is we talk about the use of simulate to then be able to replicate and then finally evaluate. And what we're going to be talking about today is that replicate part. really looking at guideWELD Live and how you can replicate your welds time after time, making sure that you're doing correct welding procedure and correct welding technique every single time that you weld. So what we're going to really kind of focus on is the guideWELD Live product itself. Now, to kind of help us along here, I have the product here for us to be able to see it. And in this case, one of the things that we're able to have here is a helmet. It's a live welding helmet with a connection to our work angle and travel angle guide. That work angle travel angle guide is what will work right with your own welding machine. And so it's very important that I tell you this, because it's a piece that you don't have to buy other pieces of equipment except for this to work with your already existing welders that you have. Then we have our speed sensor guide, and I'm going to walk through and kind of talk through each piece of that. So as we actually work through this here, I want to kind of just walk through each individual piece. So the first piece is the in-helmet guidance system. The in-helmet guidance system is an actual welding helmet. It's a auto-darkening helmet. So again, it's an upgrade in the sense of auto-darkening. It allows the student to be able to have the helmet on, and then as soon as they strike the arc, it's going to actually go dark and be able to do live welding. Inside the helmet, as you can see from the PowerPoint slide here, it actually has guides that are inside in the peripheral view, allowing the student to still look at their weld, but while they're looking at their weld, in the peripheral view, it's going to tell them if their work angle, travel angle, or their speed is correct or incorrect, and then it tells them how to change that as well. Now, the other pieces in the sense of the speed sensor and then the angle sensor, those are different training pieces that allow you to do your weld, and it actually is going to help you and show what you actually are doing while you're doing your welds. So just to kind of get started here, guideWELD Live is both can be used with both MIG and stick. So it works with your current welding machine. So there's real-time corrective feedback, and you can use stick welding or MIG welding. All right. Now, the feedback comes from the different WPSs that we have programmed into the helmet. The great thing about this is that if you have WPSs or you want to change WPSs, you have the ability to change WPSs. There is an SD card that you insert with new WPSs if you want to be able to use different types of techniques as you weld. Now, the whole purpose of this is really to work on the guidance of proper technique. So it is going to train you and help your students with work angle, travel angle, and speed. These are going to be the focuses, and what we found is that it is a great tool in the sense of, think about your students. When they go in, they don't always know, except for watching and understanding, okay, what should I be doing? How fast should I be going? How slow do I need to go? What's the actual speed? This gives that guidance for your students, so every time they're making sure that they're doing the correct speed over and over and over again. From work angle and travel angle, these are two pieces that are very important, where if they have their work angle wrong or they have their travel angle wrong, they can do a whole weld with the wrong work angle, wrong travel angle, and really have a waste of a weld, because by doing that, it has created some sort of weld defect that they need to make sure they're correct. So with this guidance, it's immediate feedback. As they start to weld and they see a problem, they can tweak it and change it right away, making sure that they're not going to continue on that problem, and then they can still have a proper weld. So a lot of cost savings can be used and be seen with this product as well. So just to give you a little overview, here is a video of an actual welding person welding using our guidance system. Inside the helmet, as you weld, in the peripheral view, you will start to see work angle, travel angle icons show up. The speed, work angle, and then also the travel angle are giving examples for here you can see are showing up. So as the student or the user is actually welding, it's actually telling them, oh, you need to go faster, you need to slow down. So if we look at this again, one of the things that you can see is as you go through this, the icons in this case have a travel angle icon, and it's showing an arrow to the left. What that is telling the student is, if they have, and I'm going to use the my stick gun here, if they're actually welding and as they weld and they say, okay, you need to move your travel angle to the left a little bit, they actually can move their hands, and as they move their hands, that travel angle will turn into an equal sign. This allows the student to be able to know, oh, I'm making a bad habit and I need to correct this. Now, one of the things that I want to point out here is, as I show this, one of the pieces here is, as I go and actually do my weld, the piece that is important is, as I'm doing a weld, I can get that immediate feedback and correct my problem. By correcting my problem, I then learn through muscle memory the correct way to do both your work angle, travel angle, then also speed. Now, a great piece too is, as you look at speed, one of the problems that happens with speed is you may have different metal thicknesses. With our product, you can have different metal thicknesses. You put that different metal thickness into place, and then your speed will change inches per minute based on what your need is. Now, in this case, that can be a big change depending on the thickness that you're going to be running at. So students who are used to doing one type of thickness all of a sudden get switched to another. They could waste a lot of material trying to figure out, oh, is my speed going what I need to be going? Now, they always should be watching the puddle, always making sure that they're doing what they need to through that. This is a guidance system, so it helps guide them to make sure they're going the correct speed. By doing that, then, their puddle should look correct and accurate, so they start to see what is the correct puddle look like, so they can start understanding those different pieces of welding knowledge. So then, when they don't have this training guide, they still understand, yep, this is what the puddle size should be, this is what it should be looking like, this is where it should be looking. So in that case, it's very important to be able to have that as part of this. Now, the other piece of this is you have work angle and travel speed. One piece that I want to talk just a little bit about too is that with our speed guide shows really two different things. One piece of it is in the helmet, and you can see there's an actual speed guide. In this case, there's a minus sign, and what that's showing you with the minus sign is you need to slow down. You need to go a little bit slower. The other piece of it is on our actual speed sensor itself. One of the pieces that is there is there's an arc off mode. This is actually, when I turn on the speed guide here, when I turn that on, there's actually a light that lights up in this product here, and when it lights up, what it does is it actually shows the speed you should be going when you're doing a weld, allowing a student to be able to practice without actually striking arc, go through the understanding of, oh, this is my speed that I should do, kind of do a practice run, making sure that they're going and getting that understanding when they're actually doing it. So again, different features that should help a student as they do their weld. All right. Now, just to talk a little bit, we have the guidance icons, and the way this works is that it's set up giving what the correct guidance icon should be. In this case, the work angle, it says 45 degrees. Travel angle should be 10. So you want to make sure you're in those parameters to be able to then do your actual weld. The speed guide here, in this case, plus is telling you to go faster. You need to move a little bit faster. Now, the opposite of this is then your speed would be a minus, to slow down. You have a work angle then telling you to move. So all of our guidance icons here are really about corrective action, how to do correct actions when you're doing live welding. Now, this slide here is a little bit maybe overwhelming because there's a lot of different icons on here, but what I wanted to show is we also have difficulty levels. Inside of the helmet, you can change the difficulty levels. Now, what you can see here is with the difficulty levels is a -3 at the user level 1. That's as tight as parameter as we want in this case, where in this case, looking at this user level, this is our work angle here. Our work angle is telling us that we can be within 3 degrees of 45 degrees. So I can be a little bit high or a little bit low, 3 degrees, and I'm still acceptable. As soon as it gets past 3 degrees, it starts to say, oh, you're out of position. And as you can see, the icon gets bigger and bigger the farther and farther out of position you're at. Now, to show another view down here at user level number 3 or our difficulty level 3, we have a -3, and now this is for speed, so inches per minute that you can go. All right, so if you're going too slow or too fast, you now have the plus or minus getting you back into the correct speed. So there's variables. So in this case, they can widen out for that student who's just learning and be able to get that variable at a very wide level. And hey, yep, you're honing it in, or you can get it very tight. In my world, I kind of like to say it's kind of like learning to do a layup in basketball before you shoot a free throw, before you shoot a three-pointer. It's that understanding, that difficulty level that we give you in this product. Now, what can you do in this world? Well, one of the things that we have is implementation of guideWELD Live. All right. Now, you have your classroom setting, and you have the world that you are in. In this world, you have your classroom where you do your book teaching, you do your PowerPoints. The great piece about this product is that it comes with 15 classroom lessons. And the reason I say classroom lessons is because it comes with PowerPoints slides. It comes with worksheets for your students to do. It comes with note-taking activities. It comes with different activities for your student. It starts with safety, and then it moves into the welding procedures of both MIG and stick, and then finally it goes into different types of causes of weld defects. And so it gives you a very great breadth of understanding. Now, our curriculum is about 15 lessons in this case. It really reaches out to about 30 hours of classroom time, depending on your teaching, about an hour to an hour and a half per lesson, so about 30 hours total in this, depending on how you teach, okay? Now, the implementation of guideWELD Live is you have your classroom setting where you do a lot of your book work, you get a lot of that conversation. Now you go out into the welding shop. One of the things that we have found, and we would suggest, is that depending on what your welding shop looks like, in this case, if you have 3 booths, you probably would want to buy at least one and get one guideWELD Live unit. Purpose of this is because when you are into the shop, not all your students will be at the same level. Some will be kind of your high flyers, some will be those who need more help. Depending on what your shop looks like, you may want to get one so you can have some students working on this while others are working. Again, this goes back into that individualized instruction, giving some students the extra help they need. Other students may go and say, hey, I can go forward and I can do it without any guidance system, and you'll start looking at their welds and they need to come back and use it. So it might be one unit that is in your class. If you have 6 booths, maybe you want 2 for your students. Maybe there's a need for more depending on what it is. Again, going back to the implementation of how you would use it. If you have 9 booths or more, you definitely want at least 3, so then your students can be going from the guidance system to actual, what we say is just, training wheels off and I'm doing my welding. Now, we've had some schools, again, depending on what their needs are, they have 9 booths, they put 9 in every one. We would say you need to have, depending on your ratio, at least a 1-to-3 ratio, because you can pair up your students, you can put them together, you can maybe use them as 3s, but really you need to have a ratio of at least 1-to-2 or 1-to-3. Now, depending on your needs and what you're going, it'd be great for you to have a higher ratio of our guideWELD Live units. Reason being is because it gets your students that much quicker into understanding of actual welding and not doing incorrect technique. A lot of schools and some of the places we've worked with, they will use the classroom curriculum and go through the curriculum and use that for 15 days to 20 some days, depending on the classroom side of it, use that world, then they start using guideWELD Live. When they use guideWELD Live, that could be from a week for some students to up to a month or 2 months, depending on what the needs are and how much welding you're actually doing for other students. So in that case, students can continue to use this for different types of metals, for different types of metal thicknesses, getting that understanding. At the same time, it allows you to do MIG and stick. So in one case, it might start with that you're starting with stick welding, and your students are going to be using guideWELD Live with stick welding to get that speed down and understand what they need to do. Once they've accomplished that then, and you move on to actually doing stick welding without any other help, you then go into MIG welding. When you do MIG welding there, now what you see is I need to get them back into the welding shop, back into guideWELD Live, and use it for MIG. Get them that understanding for MIG before they go and start to actually use it again. So these are different ways to implement this within your classroom. Be able to share these tools for your students. Let them really learn. Now, for an instructor, the great pieces here for you is just that. You now have extra help in your classroom. you have this helmet that allows your students to be able to learn if they're doing something right or wrong. They don't always have to come and ask you. They can be learning through the helmet. The helmet will then tell them, yes, correct or incorrect in the sense of their welding technique. They then, if they're seeing those lights light up over and over as they weld, they already know, I'm doing something incorrect. I need to change my speed. I need to change my work angle. This allows them to do just that. Now, another piece that I want to throw in here is we have real career employability skills. One of the pieces that we talk about is the lessons that come with this. One lesson of this is, or one curriculum we have is the guideWELD Live curriculum that comes with the product. Now, if you want to expand your students' knowledge within not only welding, but also how do you get that job, here's another piece that you could add to the product, which is the employability skills. There's 19 lessons that can cover in this world. So it's giving you a breadth of knowledge about not only welding, you add this piece to it, and then you can have employability skills as well. Now, some of the pieces here that I really want to finish off with and talk to you about is the ways our tools really help CT. In this case, it's a great recruitment and develop interest tool. We have some students who call this the fighter pilot type helmet, where you put this on and it actually helps your students to understand what they're doing right and wrong, and it's that self-paced learning. I can go and do a weld and realize that my speed's too fast. Here's how I'm going to change it. This is what I can do. All right. You can manage expanding need for skilled welders. And one of the things that we've seen is there's a need for welders out there. So how can you help them? By having them do proper technique and become a qualified welder. By having this type of a product in their world, they can actually see what they're doing right and wrong, how to correct it, and then gain that knowledge of, hey, this is proper welding technique, and I'm going to be using this as I go out and become a skilled worker. All right. It can increase skill development by reducing cost and training time. We found that one of the big things is that when you're doing live welding, students will do a live weld and they'll come to the instructor and say, what's wrong with this? And there'll be a host of different issues, and now they have to go back and do another weld. And all that practice adds up in the cost realm of materials. Now, if they can learn by, as they're doing a live weld, making corrections immediately, that then they can finish out a weld, and maybe they did some things that weren't right in part of their weld, but by changing and having that guidance in the helmet, they then correct their problems. They then can maybe have a better weld towards the end or as they go through. As they do this, they will then start to understand what proper welding technique looks like, how their welds will change, and that will help skill development and reduce that cost. Training time too is as they go through, we've had a lot of students who within 5 to 10 welds, you can automatically see different positive differences from their welding because they can see those guides and they change their habits, and their training time is decreased dramatically. And then also its leading technology is also a attractive community outreach strategy. This product has technology that will sensor, or that senses your movements as you do live welding. This is a great piece to show new technology to both students and to your community. Bring your community in and let them understand that you are cutting edge on the front end, getting those students to understand new types of technology, how it helps them train, and the reason being is then career readiness, getting them out to be able to be career ready. So with all this, we've had huge training success from correctional facilities, industry training, and employment skill training. Middle schools, high schools, and tech colleges all have these products, this product in their welding shops. And so it's a great training piece to be able to use and implement it with your students. If it's a 1 month usage to a 2 month, or maybe you use it all year long depending on your needs. This is we've had great training success because of what guideWELD Live can do for training programs. So with that said, the Real Career Welding Solutions is a 21st century training methodology that really starts with simulation, moves to replication, and ends with evaluation. And so we really feel that the guideWELD Live product is a piece that can stand on its own, where if you want your students to do live welds over and over again, this will replicate and give them the quality replication that they need to be able to do and have great habits. Now, if you want to add it with our simulator or with evaluation, it also fits within that package as well. So with that being said, I have a few minutes left of our time, and I want to see if you have any questions that may be there that we can answer or we didn't answer yet. So with that, let me check here to see if I have any questions so far. All right, one question that's showing up here is, in this case, is what is the cost? And that's a great question here that somebody's asked. And one of the features here, and I'll bring it back up to our slide that actually shows the cost here, is our unit cost is $6,500, all right? That includes both MIG and stick welding. Now, there's WPSs that are included in that. There's also, like I said, 15 lesson curriculum that goes along with that. So the feedback comes from these different WPSs. You also get a curriculum, and you also have the ability to use with both stick and MIG welding. So it's dual purpose in being able to use that. So for one unit. Now, if you're a school and you need more units in the sense of 3 or 5, we also have discounts as you purchase more. But the unit cost is $6,500. For welding training products like this in the tracking and understanding your welding world, is the most cost-effective product on the market today. So again, that's a big feature for us as we look to try to make sure that it is really hitting in a place, because we feel it's important that we partner with our educators as we walk through this. Now, another question that is up here is, again, what different processes to do. And again, I just want to reiterate, MIG and stick, so it does both of those, and it works right with your current welding machine. So with stick welding, you can use it right with your stick welder. If you have a MIG, it can work right with that as well. So either or, there's no extra pieces that you have to buy or use with that. All right. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for your time today. Again, if you have more questions, you can always email us at information@realityworks.com or call us at our toll-free number. Now, also, we will be sending out a reply to you just showing this video. So if you need to use this or if you have more questions, you will be able to get that as you need. So thank you for your time, and I hope that this has been educational and informational as you go out and really hone what you need for your welding shops and the welding education that you're bringing. Thank you.